Hey, what's going on? E. Jones, bottom to the top hoops.
You already know, Black Elvis, we in the building.
Yo, L, man, obviously you're a champion with your LA Lakers. The NBA got past the season with all of the trying times and conditions with the pandemic. They created the bubble. They successfully got it done. That's in the rearview mirror. Now what's at the forefront is, and congratulations, by the way. I'm sorry about that.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.
By
the way, y'all got Doc. Y'all got Doc, so y'all looking like something. Y'all might be trying to put something together over there in Philly.
I ain't mad at it, bro. I like the pick. So transitioning, we're talking about, entities that may not have as much money, resources, and wherewithal to be able to create bubbles like a high school basketball, like AAU, like middle school, and specifically college basketball and the NCAA with the ruling that came down about college basketball players, which we're going to get into today.
Yes.
So what are you thinking about it, L, based on the information we know right now before we actually get into it on how we found out about it?
Well, I think it's a beautiful thing that social media and people are really reaching out and asking us to talk about real topics. It's beautiful that the following that we do have, they're in the loop. They know the bubble is over. They're like, yo, can you touch on, what some of these high school kids are going through? For the kids that don't know, there's a lot of information that kids get secondhand. So hopefully, like we always discuss, we want to be, the vehicle to get it to you firsthand.
So to that point, Al, I'll just say you can definitely reach out at the Black Elvis. You can reach out to me at Eric Jones 1481, and at Bottom to the Top Hoops on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook. You can reach out to us, or just via YouTube, leave a comment. If there's a specific topic that you want us to touch or talk about, we definitely welcome the feedback, and we would love to try to share our knowledge and information to expound and give information where applicable. So specifically talking about this NCAA new ruling, I'm going to go over it in detail, and then we'll get into the discussion. The NCAA has ruled that in 2020 and 2021, for the season, and I'm specifically talking about basketball right now, this year will not count against a student athlete's eligibility for basketball. Also, they're saying that next year for the 21-22 season, that players are going to be able to immediately transfer and be eligible. That means you do not have to be a grad transfer. You do not have to sit out. You don't need a runoff waiver. You don't need a medical waiver. You can just choose to leave one university, go to the other, and be eligible right away. So these are groundbreaking rules, along with the likeness and players being able to get paid for that. There's so many things that are happening and it's moving parts. So your initial reaction when you heard this ruling, Al, was what?
Come up. Extra year. I can get stronger. I can get smarter. You know what I mean? I can stay safe. You know what I mean? Because it's like kids lost so much time. And that's why I'm excited for us to get into the whole training segment. You know what I mean? But, when you look at it, I look at it as a blessing. You get another year to get stronger. You get a chance to hit the books. And more importantly, academically, you're ahead a year. So now, when the season comes, maybe one of those years, it might be really hard because you got a really good team. You got a hard schedule. You might can pull back now on your classes because you got ahead.
You know what? You touched on a couple of things. First, we all know that when you're a senior in college or high school, you want to have the least amount of classwork as possible. You want to do your heavy lifting in your first couple of years so you make sure that if you're making a push to become a professional athlete or whatever it is, you can focus your time and energy, which you should have a lot of because you've gotten your core classes out of the way and most of your requirements for your academic degree. Also, there's some players who are going to have achieved their degree this year. And then next year, you can go on and potentially go into a master's program and get
Yeah.
a second degree on the school's dime. So there's no inherent problem for the student athlete who tries to stay or wants to stay, if they're allowed to stay.
Yeah.
So, which takes us into the topic of how does this affect each level of player and grade classification? Let's start off with the players who are currently in college. We talked about that. We talked about the benefits. So, L, let's take scenario one. I'm playing at Cincinnati. I'm a senior. I'm averaging 14 a game. Cincinnati would be considered, any given year could be a mid-plus to a high major, right? NCAA tournament team. I got some good notoriety. I'm at, I'm the 75th ranked senior in the country. I potentially could be in a draft camp. I could potentially not. I definitely got some offers to go international and play overseas. What do? I'm going to go to Duke. How does Duke benefit? A player who's played 4 years of college basketball. He's proven himself on a high level. He understands what it means to be battle tested and played at a really good conference. And now for the player, I get to play at a level up. I'm on TV every week. I may only average 12 or 11 at Duke, but that might increase my chances. And guess what? I might be able to go to Duke and get a master's. Who knows, right?
Yeah.
And now you're going to have lateral moves. You're going to have upwards moves. You're going to have moves from a student who played at Kentucky who was looking to average 12, get himself some notoriety, and guess what? I'm not coming back because they've recruited more kids. So now, you know what? I'm going to go be a big fish at Siena. I'm going to try to get 20 in the extra year the NCAA granted me, so now I can be seen and maybe say, you know what, instead of making $50,000 in Brazil, I'm going to go to Russia and get 250.
Yeah.
It's a real scenario, Al.
It's a real scenario, no doubt.
And so with that being said, what would you advise a student athlete who, let's take a second scenario, who is a JUCO kid? You're in college this year. You just transferred from, let's call it, you just transferred from Hutchinson. You're going to Temple. You got this year and 2 more. What would be the mindset you would tell that player to have going into this first year at Temple?
Build
Okay.
your body, build in the classroom, because you see you got an extra year. So now you literally set yourself up. You like with that extra year, that literally is probably your shot to get those bigger looks down the road. Because for one, that first year coming out of JUCO, you learn the system.
Yep.
Then the second year, the coaching staff is going to be a little more familiar with you, but more comfortable because you understand the system.
Yep.
That third year is your shine. It's time for you to lead. You've been a vet. You understand the system. You know what the coaches is looking for. And now they are looking at that as the advantage that you have.
Yeah. And that's what people don't realize about JUCO, just touching on that point that you made.
Please touch on it.
They don't, when you play JUCO basketball, nobody has time to wait for you. Not when you go to JUCO. They're expecting you to be the impact player because you only have 2 years, right?
Yeah.
So you take that first year, it's almost like the first 2 months to get acclimated, and then you got to get to it. So if you're not starting your first year at JUCO, your second year, you got to now get in the starting lineup and you got to put up numbers.
Yeah.
So now when you transfer from JUCO to D1, you're a junior. They don't expect you to be like a freshman and have to learn stuff. They expect you to get things quicker, be a leader, be an example, not be getting in stupid trouble and breaking curfew and doing irresponsible things because they're looking at you as an upperclassman to set an example. Regardless of the fact that you weren't in this program, you were in a program. So they brought you in to get to it right away. You don't have time to wait. So what this does is it gives you a little bit more adjustment window, and it doesn't make the immediacy of your impact to be so urgent. Coaches have more time.
Yeah, that's so true.
Now, let's get into our third scenario, L.
Mm-hmm.
Let's put high school and prep together.
Okay.
We know that prep players may have a smaller advantage, but I think when you kind of get 16 and 17, the difference between 17 and 19 sometimes can be a difference. But, you know, I don't think there's a difference between the high-level kids like an Adrian Griffin and a Jalen Green.
Okay.
Right? Both of those kids are pros.
Yeah.
Projected-wise. But when you start to get into the mid-plus, not even the mid-plus, maybe the mid-major down to the low-major down to the D2, you're talking about a different animal, L, because those guys are going to get affected so severely. You got the lateral transfers, meaning, you know, I just want to explain these terms so parents and student athletes understand. A lateral transfer means something like I'm playing at the top of the MAC, right? Let's say a school like Iona in recent history, and I'm transferring to Hofstra. It's a lateral move, right?
Lateral.
Iona is the top of the MAC, perennial NCAA teams. Hofstra is maybe a level up in terms of the conference, but if they played against each other on a consistent basis, you might see those games split in terms of who wins. That's a lateral move. So you're going to see, you know, you're going to see guys going from Marist to St. Francis, Pennsylvania. It's a lateral move.
It's a lateral move, yes, sir.
Then you're going to see guys going down, going from USC to Long Beach State. And then you're going to see guys trying to transfer up. I killed at FDU. I want to go to Ole Miss. So,
got it.
So all of these moves just weigh heavier and heavier on the high school kid because as a college coach, my job is on the line.
Yeah.
Do I want to trust a 17-year-old who's still learning how to mature and learning the game and his body's developing? Or do I want to take a senior from a battle-tested program to come in and help me get over the top or get to my next contract? So what advice would you give high school kids right now in this situation and scenario that we're in?
Well, I mean, just being around you and knowing a couple of people that's in the loop, you know, I've seen a lot of kids fumble the ball. So with that being said, you know, if you have an opportunity, you have to take it, because at this day and age, with everything that's going on with the pandemic and, you know, even with the election, don't forget to vote. Yes, thanks to E and Chance and different people, they got me vote. So, you know,
that's right.
When you look at the reality and what's going on, unless you like the top 5 in the country, you ain't got time to play. You need to take what comes to you and make the best of it. And I think that's one of the reasons why they're setting it up, to give everybody that year of eligibility back. Because, you know, they already see what's going on. Now, you could have been a senior and been being recruited by high majors, or you could have been at a prep school and being recruited by high majors. This put a dent in a lot of people's game, you know?
Man, L, you know, we speak all the time, and you know about, you know, me helping kids, and you always giving me assistance with video and chopping it up and all of that stuff. So you know intimately the kids that I've helped, the kids that the programs that I'm affiliated with helped, and the advice that I give to, you know, all of my guys, or try to give, not just with basketball, but with life. It could be resume writing. It could be, you know, job placement opportunities. It could just be, you know, life advice for family. But specifically with basketball, I've had conversations with guys with our recent situation about let's call it pandemic recruiting. Don't be cute. This is not the time for you to be waiting and holding something out about a bigger, better deal. It's not the time. Now, again, if you don't like a school, if something specifically turns you off about a university, let's pick one of the five evils, right? Let's pick the best opportunity. I think that's what's happening in an election. I don't think people love the candidates. I think that you have to exercise your right to vote, and you got to pick the one that serves your agenda the most.
Like they say, let's say of the evils.
Less of two evils. So who plays my style of play? What degrees do they have? What is the on-campus life like? What have people done from that school in life and in basketball that have graduated from there? What are they saying about the coaching staff? How long ago did they get hired? How much time do they get before they get potentially fired or extended? Find those things out. Do as much research as you can online and make a decision. I'm not telling you to be in a rush, but you certainly got to have some urgency, because those opportunities will not be on the table. Colleges are in the driver's seat. They have options of older, more experienced guys. If you don't want to take this, what I got to offer, guess what? Because if there's 360 Division I schools and there's 5 seniors on average or 3 seniors on average at every school, guess what? There's another 900 and something experienced players that they wouldn't normally have to choose from.
That's true.
That's taking your scholarships. So what I would do is say, you know what? I'm not going to give them a chance to renew those guys. I'm going to commit and sign early and make them make a decision on whether they got to push those guys out, because I committed in November and I didn't wait till April. Sometimes kids got to hear, I'm sorry, you're not that good to be that cute and just wait.
It's a fact.
And that even goes with guys that are borderline D1 guys. Don't think that these Division IIs don't have options.
Yeah.
Because Division I guys are going to be like, man, I tried this D1 for 4 years. I need to go and get me some numbers. I'm not playing no more.
I'm going to get some numbers, and you sitting there talking about I'm waiting for a bigger school. It's over for you.
I'm going to Virginia Union to go cook. I'm going to play in the CIAA. I'm going to play against 3 Division I schools. It's going to be popping. I'm going to have a good time. I'm going to get me this degree, this master's, and I'm going to put some numbers up and go try to get paid. That's what I'm going to do. While you still playing around at 19 years old thinking it's sweet.
Yeah, that's a whole fact.
You know what I mean? And I seen it happen firsthand with guys, you know, and everybody's smarter than everybody, right? The kids, they know it. They want to tell you about how this thing is going to play out, and they don't realize that you've been in this scenario so many times with so many kids, and you're trying to prevent them the headache and the heartache. But, you know, sometimes experience is the best teacher, but we would hope that they could take the road less traveled. Yeah,
that's a fact.
So these rules are serious, man. And big shout out to all of my guys, Zaire Porter, Ish Valdez, my guy, can't think of all of my guys that's out there that went from JUCO to D1. They got 3 years of this thing, man. So instead of having 2, they're going to have 3 years. So y'all got Kyle Harding. Yo, y'all guys, man, go put in work, man. Y'all got a blessing. My man Will Condrick, hey, listen, don't
play with it
for granted, man. Go get to it. You got 3 of them. You got 3 to hoop, bro. Go do it.
Yeah. That's a good look.
It's a good look, man. So, Al, I think we gave a lot of valuable information. I think that.
Okay, one more that from the email about training. A mom was saying, you know, she's paying top dollar for different trainers, but doesn't feel that she's getting the feedback she's looking for because her son is not responding. E, what do we do in a situation like that? You know, as far as just going into detail, just about, you know, training and the importance of training and, you know, why during a pandemic, when there's no real tournaments going on, why should you be training now?
Well, that's a very, very, and thanks for that feedback, for that mom who shared that with you. But it's a very complex topic, and I'm going to try to tackle it as simple as I can. Basketball players need to play, right? Any sport that you do, anything, you have to exercise those muscles, so you create muscle memory. That's first. So the more you play, the more you train correctly, usually the more improvement you're going to make. So there's a difference between, and I'm going to make this distinction, there's a difference between training and learning skills and training to have applicable skills, meaning stuff that's going to translate into games. So if you're just training with cones all day, you need to train against somebody. You need to be making sure that the stuff that you're doing and you're training with is going to work. So we're talking about learning the skill, how to use it, why do you use it, when should you use it. So the best information I can give you about a good trainer is somebody who's a good teacher. They should not only tell you how, but they should tell you why. That way you can understand it, and as the scenarios play themselves out, you can auto-correct and self-correct and say, coach, I see what you was talking about. I should have pump faked because the guy overcommitted on his closeout and I could have went by and got a one dribble pull-up. So what happens is guys are just telling you to go through all of these drills, and you're not doing it in real time against anyone, and you're just doing drills, and you become what I call a cone kid. And you just do all of these moves with nobody on you in scenarios, and you don't know when to use them. So I think it's important for these kids to understand during this pandemic, go train with your friends, play against your friends, play one-on-one. That's going to help you. So when you're doing these moves with these trainers, work on that stuff.
Exactly. Right? Great advice.
Yeah, man. And whatever your weakness is, man, talk to somebody independent of yourself and your family and your close circle to assess you on what your weaknesses are and go work on those things. And trainers should be giving you feedback about, you know, where you are, where you want to go, and how to get there. That's my best advice.
All right. So just for the people before we close out, what we did was we put together an exclusive training and tried to use two kids that, you know, from our assessment that are really thriving here in New York City. And, you know, one of them is Mel and the other one is Zaire Johnson. But I have to really give props to Scooter. I've seen him doing tons of training and putting tons of videos up. The kid's playing varsity in round ball, and he's doing his thing. I'm watching the in-out crossover, all the things he be doing in the drills, in-out crossover, step back, knocking down it. The kid is playing against 11th graders and 12th graders. He's in the 7th grade. So, you know, he got an opportunity to train him and Zaire. You'll be able to take, you know, for our parents, please watch that episode, because you can take some of what E is instilling in them and take that and have your child practice those same things. Like, you know, E is a trainer. Like, you know, he's a professional. He gets paid to do what he does. But yet, if you look at our platform, we're looking to give you guys advice. We're looking to give you the jewels. Yeah. So when we put this video out, you guys really need to take it serious and really like listen to the detail, because that's one thing I've learned being around E. It's about detail. And a lot of these trainers don't emphasize detail. If I allow you to just come off the screen and you not understand the importance of why, you got to know how to hedge off the screen. You got to be able to read the defender. These are all things that a lot of these trainers and coaches assume kids know. How could you assume a kid knows that because he watches basketball?
Very, very good assessment. And I've gotten a chance to work individually with Zaire, and I'm seeing his growth. And the common thread between those kids are they love basketball. Let's make a gauge on your kids and seeing what they love, not what you love, not what you want to see for them. If you're the one pushing your kid to train all the time, take a step back and don't say anything to them about training or working out, and see how much or how often they'll push you to go to the gym or to work out. And I'm not saying wait 3 weeks, but just take a couple of days and see how much they push you. Because you got to love what you do in order to put this work in and wake up at 6 in the morning and be in the gym at 10 at night. And you got to love it. And once the parent loves it more than the kid, you get these blinders on, and the kid is going down a path where they're just going through the motion, and their improvement is showing that they don't love it as much because they're not making the strides, right? Because there's a certain side of their brain that's turned off to coaching and teaching because it's being drilled in them and forced to them. You learn more when you love something. And as much as the physical is important, that love for the game will take you far beyond anything you can ever learn in terms of working out, because it'll push you to want to do more and want more. Just my assessment.
Hey, man, that was well said.
Hey, man, we gave him an earful. I'm glad we got a chance to talk about these things. Hopefully you guys were educated and you have some information to apply to your lives as student athletes and as parents who are guiding these potential student athlete young men and women. On behalf of myself, Jerry Ice, D. Jones, the entire City Legend staff, I want to say thank you for consuming the content. Check us out, YouTube, Spotify, Apple TV. Follow us at Bottom to the Top Hoops, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook. And also, big shout out to we in October to all of the breast cancer survivors. We got something special at the end of the month. What you got to say on the sign out, El?
Shout out to God. Shout out to the crew. Shout out to everybody who's doing great things. Yes, shout out to everyone who's giving back sincerely, not for them, but giving back because they know if I give back, the universe is going to reward me.
Peace and blessings, man. Yeah.
Yeah.